This is Packard Pokes At with our special 4-year anniversary episode. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another special episode of Packard Pokes At. I am your immutable and unmutable host, Packard Sonic, and joining us tonight from the far west coast is Connie, Practical Magic 9.
I'm recording and broadcasting in the rain. Raining out there.
Is it raining out there?
Yes, it is.
Oh, that explains a lot then. That explains a lot.
Buckets and buckets. Yeah.
Yes. And joining us for our special guest host tonight is Godless Glen from Tennessee.
Yes, the greatest state in America.
Yes.
Well, unless, of course, you're atheist or gay, then, you know, it's not
absolutely.
so great.
Right. If you're either of those things, then you're fucked. So.
You're shit out of luck.
Yes.
Did you have Dollywood?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do get Dollywood.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which is really nice, you know.
Yeah.
That's one of the only attractions we have here in Tennessee.
Mm.
One of the very few.
Well, there's those mountains you got down there too. So,
Yes.
Of course, then you lose people up there, and then they never come back down. You call those the hill people, as I understand it. So, but we're not going to be talking about hill people tonight. We're going to be talking about something completely different. As we started the show, we had a little technical difficulties, and as with technical difficulties go, we have these things called hard drives, and these things are great. You can store a lot of data on there until they fill up or whatever. But the problem with hard drives is that sometimes they become corrupt, and then when they become corrupt, the files that are on there become completely disjointed, and they're either unrecoverable, or if you can recover any parts of it, a lot of the data that's on there gets screwed up, and you can't trust the data. And you talk to anybody that works with computers, they'll tell you the same thing. This thing that's inside our heads is also a type of computer. It's a biological computer, and it stores a lifetime of memories. Even if sometimes stuff that we'll forget stuff, and then something will remind us of it later on in life, but those memories inside get jumbled around. When we start to die, these things that are inside our brains, this brain of ours, starts to fail. And when it starts to fail, you don't want to trust the data that's happening inside there. But too many people think that they can trust this information that is in there of a failing brain. And then they think they have what's called a near-death experience. And a problem with this is people are coming in and they're spouting off this garbage. They are trying to sell it to the mass media, and that's tonight's topic is near-death experiences and how they are infecting our media, basically. So, okay, let's talk. Anybody got their first comments on this?
Well, we first found this story this last week just because Annabelle Beam, she was then 9 years old. She's now a 12-year-old girl. She fell headlong into a hollow cottonwood tree and claims that she saw Jesus. She died and saw Jesus, and she had some pre-existing condition, gastrointestinal condition, that caused her really a lot of pain when she ate. When she was pulled out of the tree, of course, they're thinking there's going to be head trauma, all this other stuff. Not only was there not head trauma, but her other condition went away. And now she's talking about seeing Jesus. Her mom wrote a book about it. Of course, it's called Miracles from Heaven. And then next year, later this year or next year, we should expect to see a movie based on this book. What I found really interesting was in the interview, little Annabelle, well, not so little, but, still a young girl, she said when she was so sick with this other gastrointestinal disease, she told her mother one time, I'd feel so bad, I would just like to die and be with Jesus. And I'm going, bingo.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's, yes.
One of the
that's
things,
what started us talking about this.
Yeah, one of the things is that she said that when she had this experience, she said that Jesus had a brown beard, brown hair, and a white robe, which corresponds to conventional depictions of Jesus. Duh.
Or the homeless man on the corner.
Okay, yeah, could have been the homeless man on the corner. That's the thing is, when people die from different religions, they will see the families. That's pretty common because you're going to be thinking about, okay, I'm leaving all these people behind, all the people who have gone before me.
Right.
And then you're thinking of, especially if you're religious, you will be thinking about the person or your prophet or whatever. And that's, of course, you're going to see that. Hindus see cows. I don't know what they see. Maybe it's a giant whopper that comes at them. I don't know.
Oh, God. That would be... All that time I could have been eating beef.
All this time you could have been eating beef.
What? A whopper?
It's a whopper. I apologize. But Muslims...
Vishnu says, just kidding.
And the Muslims, of course, they will see the Prophet Muhammad, and everything like that. Yeah. But the thing is...
The bacon sandwiches up here are really great.
Yeah.
God. Okay. Okay. And I'm done for the night. I think I've denigrated enough groups. Wait, no, there's still probably some more. Oh, God.
Yeah. Glenn, did you want to get some thoughts in on this too, or?
It's pretty funny. Every time you see this, whether it's a book or a movie about some near-death experience, someone seeing Jesus or whatever, it's funny because, whether or not they believe it or not, clearly it's a big moneymaker.
Yes.
For these people. So I can see the greed behind why some people will lie. And, some of these people admit that they made this whole story up.
Exactly. There was... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So it's it just goes to show you that they will monetize that. They know that the American people love this shit. They love to hear about people seeing, whether it's some kind of vision or whether it's a near-death experience or whatever. They eat this shit up,
Yep.
And usually Jesus, of course, has blue eyes. Well, I don't know what color Jesus's eyes were in this story. Hopefully it was blue. If not, somebody's lying to us because Jesus clearly had blue eyes in the movie. Oh shit! What was that movie?
Heaven is for real.
Yeah. Heaven is for real. Yeah. So
yes,
I'm gonna be pissed off if Jesus has got different colored eyes now. So
yeah, well, pretty soon it's just gonna be his eyes are gonna be so blue they're just gonna focus a laser right through it or something. I guess I don't know.
Yeah,
but
so we can see the greed behind all of this, and some of these people may actually believe that they're having these experiences. They're so caught up in this delusion because I think what drives this is the Christian's view of this immaterial aspect of the soul.
Right.
So they think that they have a separate entity known as the soul, a separate part of themselves. And so they are able to actually come out of their body at death or near death, whatever. And I've had numerous people in the Pentecostal movement back in the days that would tell me, "Oh, yes, brother, God, I've had a near-death experience or a vision, and I've come out of my body, and I was standing over my body, and God showed me this and this." And it's like, of course, you buy all this bullshit when you're a Christian.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was involved in the Pentecostal religion for a short time myself, and I heard that same kind of language. It was just, now you look back at it going, what the fuck?
I know. It sounds so crazy.
It does. It really does. We're getting some comments here from the chat room. Dawkins Dog said we're not always be fixated by NDEs. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. So usually that light, if there's a light at the end of the tunnel, it's an oncoming train. So get off the tracks. So.
Yeah.
But there's been when you said there's been I think it was Connie said there's people that come out as frauds. There was a guy that just recently he said that he had made up the whole story basically. I wish I could remember the guy's
Alex
name.
Malarkey.
Yeah, Malarkey. That's it.
The ironic last name of Malarkey.
Yes, the ironic last name of Malarkey.
Love that.
Yeah, and he came out and said, "Oh, I actually made it up. I just trying to get some attention or whatever." It's like, dude, really?
Wow.
And then, of course, the recent movie, Heaven is for Real, with the Burpos and another great name.
Can't make these names up.
Yeah, you can't make this shit. You can't make this shit up. And then the thing is, you could tell that the kid was coached throughout in the movie. I don't know. Apparently, there's a book on it too. But in the movie, he points at the hands, and anybody who actually was any kind of scholar or anybody that actually knows anything about the way they would crucify people, they don't put them through the hands. The body would literally tear off of these crosses that they were putting these on. They put these things through the wrists. Otherwise, you're just looking at a big ass mess.
Yeah.
There was also some other ones here. Veronica Barthel, she said that she was struck by lightning in her car one day in 1981. She felt like she claimed she was instantly transported into hell, where she found demons escorting her into a big waiting room. Wait a minute. Why would demon? I didn't know they had an escort service down there.
Of course, hell has a waiting room. It's like the DMV. Part of your hell experience.
Yeah, if there is a hell, it is at the DMV. Absolutely. No. No, that's funny. It's like I can't imagine. It's like you get down there. It's like at a restaurant or something. You go in, walk in. It's like, oh, wait, you walk to the table. No, I was like, oh, don't mind my horns. We're just gonna take you to this waiting room here. Like, wouldn't you just go immediately to the waiting room? I mean, what would be the point of meeting some demons at the beginning, at the opening area? It's like, oh, I gotta open these doors. Hey, there's demons there. Oh, now we're gonna take you to another room. What the fuck? Really?
Oh, wow. I read a book
really
one
bad
time.
Elevator music.
Yeah, a little elevator music in there. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead there, Glenn.
Yeah, I was in a Christian bookstore one time, and I was reading this book. I think her name is Baxter. I think that's her last name. And she wrote a book, A Divine Revelation of Hell. And I'm like, this sounds interesting. So, I opened it and thumbed through some pages. And I'm telling you, this woman claims that God gave her a vision of hell. Now, it wasn't a near-death experience, but nonetheless, it's still related, I guess. But, and in hell, demons are actually the agents of the torture. Mm-hmm. They're the ones, I guess, that's their job in hell, is to torture unbelievers.
Right.
Which I thought, this is messed up, because this is a place supposedly of their punishment too.
Right.
How is it that they're the ones inflicting torment? So the whole book, man, from what I could tell, just the bits and pieces I got out of it was very disturbing. And I really thought she's full of shit, even as a Christian. I really did. I really thought she was full of shit.
That doesn't. I never thought the whole concept of hell never made sense to me. I mean, if these people are going down there to be punished, I mean, then what would be the point then? Really? I mean,
a never-ending chamber of punishment. It's like they don't even serve a purpose,
right?
Other than just the sick, twisted fantasy of the God that put them there.
Right.
So yeah,
there was this great quote. I wish I could remember the whole quote off the top of my head. I think it was by Robert Ingersoll. He said that basically heaven and hell are real, and if every person who goes to hell is another shining example of God's failure.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
True.
But this whole thing that these people put out there is really ridiculous. Real quick here, though, we do have a clip I would like to show, because this has been the 4-year anniversary of the show of this month anyway. So we have a quick clip we're going to play, and then we'll be back in just a moment.
Woof woof. Hi, I'm Dawkins' dog from England. Congratulations to Packard Pokes At on reaching 4 years. A big woof goes out to all those who have appeared and made the show what it is. I'd better go now. I need to pee, but I have to find a tree first. Here's to the next 4 years. But please do try to remember to hit record, Packard.
Congratulations, Packard Sonic, on 4 successful years of doing your show and putting it on YouTube. Hopefully you'll have 4 more successful years.
And that was Dawkins' dog at the first part, and the second video there we had was Karn 33333. So I want to thank them for contributing to the show this week. Anyway,
Yes.
back
Awesome.
to our near death experiences. Sometimes I swear I've had enough accidents in my life, and I've had a few where you think you're seeing shit, and that's just not there. It's a hallucination. It's just an auditory thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes it's visual or whatever. And we kind of mentioned the light at the end of the tunnel or whatever. These things are just a brain shutting down, basically.
And I read an article on ION. I think that's what the
Yes.
website's called. And it was a study from 2006, but they said, the assumption is always that when the blood's cut off from the brain, that it just stops. But the more that we know, the more you know, right? So somebody was studying, and they were saying there's these different waves. I don't have the article open, but one of them is a gamma wave, which is actually you being conscious, right, and thinking. And they were doing a study with mice, and the gamma waves in your brain are what are going when you are conscious and thinking. There was this spike in the gamma afterwards when, you would think that the brain would be done.
Right.
And then there was also cross activity with the will, with like your reflexive muscle, reflexive activity in the brain. And they said we didn't think we'd see this, but we're seeing this in the mice, in the rodents, which means that they're actually processing this. And the way that they were processing would create hallucinations. It was really interesting. So they said, we want to watch this with people. But, near-death experience is a very modern thing. But we've been studying dreams for a while. And that was the other thing that was noted, is that when you look at nightmares and night terrors and things like that, they mirror very much the activity, the things that people report in near-death experiences.
Oh,
and
really?
So, yeah. So because we've only been resuscitating people successfully for, like the last century, that's why, we're seeing so many more of these reports. But it is going to probably, once they find this out, it'll probably be owned up to brain activity, the brain shutting down, like you're leaving a house and you're turning off the lights in different rooms.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I guess the other thing I was going to say is people had asked at the Wednesday meeting about stories about hell. Do people go to hell? And there are stories of people who go to hell. Usually it's somebody who's not a believer, or sort of an Easter Christmas Christian. They have an attack of some kind, and they wind up having a conversion. One of the most famous ones is a guy named Howard Storm, who 1985, he claims he was dead for a while, but I don't know. I don't necessarily think that he was dead. His wife I've never seen anything from his wife corroborating his story. Yeah. But he has a very famous story about how the demons were doing unspeakable things. The most hilarious thing about him is he was a double atheist. I don't know how you can be a double atheist. Yeah. And another Dr. Donald Whitaker was a big one on TBN. He had different TV shows, and he would talk about medicine. He had a near-death experience also. And a guy named Ronald Reagan, not the former president, who lives in Tennessee, he and his wife do a lot of church building. But yeah, he had a story about claiming he was dead and he went to heaven. Actually, he went to hell. Sorry, he went to hell.
Oh, went to hell.
These are all
That's
hell
gotta
stories.
The hell story. The thing there with the hell part, it must be a vacation destination or something, because it's like you got to go to hell first before you get to go to see heaven. It's like the outer area. It's like the bad turnoff. It's like, oh shit, I took the wrong exit. And I'm in downtown Detroit now, apparently. So, you know.
I don't understand
every
why people
good
want to go to
story-
Arizona. So
Yeah.
And every good story that, if someone has some type of vision or near-death experience, it's like, oh, I wasn't living right, but Jesus showed me hell, and he showed me that's where I was going to go if I didn't get my life right. So, it makes for a really interesting story. And I think most people actually believe it, though.
Yeah.
I think. You've got your con artists out there, of course, that do the books and the movies.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
I think a lot of people do believe it. And I'll share a story with you here in a few minutes whenever we got time about someone that was a former Christian who became an atheist because he actually died. He said he was dead for a few minutes, right?
Right.
And he was resuscitated. And he said, I'm an atheist now. And as a Christian, I didn't really know what to make of that at the time. But he said, yeah, it's all bullshit. He said, there's no heaven, there's no hell. He said, it's black. He said, it's black. And he said, I was dead for whatever it was, 6 minutes, 4 minutes, whatever it was. I don't remember exactly. But he said, I was dead. And he said, there's nothing. And he said, I'm an atheist. And of course, he was, he didn't believe any of it any longer. Yeah, and that's all it took was for him to actually die and realize he doesn't have a separate soul. There is no heaven and hell that you float to after death. So that really puzzled me as a Christian, and I didn't really have anything to say for him too much. And I began to research, though, and I found out as a Christian that even the Bible, I know people disagree with me, but really the Bible doesn't even teach that people, at the moment they die, they float into heaven or hell. So from at least my studies, I didn't get that. So
they go to rest.
Yeah, there's actually a passage in the Bible that says there is no heaven after you die. You're just dead. I just can't remember which one it is off the top of my head there. Mm-hmm. But there was also just recently another a preacher or pastor or whatever the fuck he is out in the Vatican. He came back. He said he claimed he died or whatever for he had some kind of attack or whatever. He died. They brought him back. Found out that God's a woman. So.
That would explain the mess. No, I'm kidding.
No!
I'm kidding.
Bad housekeeper. So.
God was PMSing when he had that flood incident.
Right. This is like, hey, God damn it, get the hell out of here. Yeah. So. The fact is, because the brain is not reliable. I mean, we're biological. We have, even when we're in fairly decent health. I mean, I've just been recovering from a cold for the last few weeks, and even though I'm physically, I'm not at my top peak, there are going to be times when I'm going to forget stuff just because of that, and it's a biological thing. The biologics that we have to live in, we don't have control over how well we remember things, and we can't just pull shit up. Like I can pull up a file off the computer to say, okay, there's this whole document, there's this whole document. We just don't do that. Sometimes we have to have our brains jogged or whatever. They like, oh, do you remember this part of it? This part is like, we have to put those pieces together. So our brain is like a gigantic biological jigsaw puzzle sometimes,
and there's a few pieces missing.
Yes.
A few pieces missing, and sometimes we recall it. We think that we remember a situation, an event, or whatever, and we remember it incorrectly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially being a guy. Your wife said, "No, I said this," and you're like, "No, I could swear that you said this or do this and this," but no. I mean, our brains are very faulty.
Yeah. Of course, women are good at just saying, "Hey, I told you that." It's like, he'll buy it anyway. Don't worry. Don't.
I'm right here.
I'm just kidding, Connie. I'm sorry, Connie. I didn't mean to give away your secrets there. I'm sorry.
I'm giving you grief.
I know you are.
Well, I have deja vu. I still have deja vu on occasion, and it.
I hear
really
it's good on.
I
hear that's good on. I hear deja vu's good on tacos. So.
Pardon me. Do you have any deja vu?
Yes.
Yeah, there's your daily dose of corn, everybody.
There you go.
No, and it it was something that really bothered me,
Mm-hmm.
for a long time. Like, as a Christian, it bothered me. I was like, why is this? And even now, as a skeptic, I go, well, there's no way that I could actually be seeing or dreaming the future. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, maybe if there's string theory and there's really alternate universes or something like that, I guess. Yeah. But I'm like, no, there's got to be a logical explanation, and it is something to do with my brain.
Right.
Yeah. And it was a little uncomfortable to hear that at first, because I don't really like hearing that, but I prefer that to the supernatural or the pseudo, the woo-woo explanation. And I sometimes have sleep paralysis, which I'll wake up and I think that there's something in the room and whatnot. And I used to, of course, that used to freak me out as a believer. I thought it was demons or some other thing. Yeah. And now I go, well, no, there's a physical reason for this.
Right.
And it's much more comforting to have the truth than to be afraid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. You pretty much nailed it right there, Connie. Because we have these things, like the sleep paralysis. You think things are going on around you, and there's actually nothing actually going on. It's all going on inside your head there. Sometimes that squirrel falls off, and he's like, I've fallen. I can't get up. I can't get up. I'm trying to get back on the wheel. And and especially when that breaks,
yes,
especially when the brain's breaking down, you can't, you're not thinking properly. So then you start remembering, if you survive it, you're going to take all these little pieces of things that are going on around you, because it's possible. And now this is a speculation on my part, because I've never gone through this myself. The fact is that you might be hearing voices, or of the people who are around you, or sounds, or whatever, and then your brain is taking this information in, and it's adding it to what's going on inside your head. I mean, the closest thing I can get to this is like when you're asleep. Sometimes you're in a really interesting dream, and the next thing you know, you hear an alarm going off, and then you go over and you try to shut off the alarm in the dream, and it's still going off, and you can't figure out why it won't go off. It turns out it's your real life alarm clock is trying to wake your ass up to get you out of bed. And so it's like, oh shit, there's a real world again.
Yeah.
So, the thing is, it becomes part of the dream, and I think that's what sometimes these people say they're seeing demons. Maybe they're just thinking about all these people who are around them who are making all this noise. They're talking about stuff that they're really fast because they're trying to save your fucking life, and they're like trying to get you back on your feet, at least alive anyway. So I think you're getting a lot of sensory input. You're getting poked. You're getting prodded. You're getting all kinds of things.
I have a very vivid imagination.
Right.
That's my big problem. That's what my teachers always told my mom.
No.
Connie has a very vivid imagination.
I was gonna say, but
poked and prodded, huh?
Poked and prodded. That's why we're at Packard Pokes. You get poked and prodded. No.
We have an electric cattle prod.
We have an electric cattle prod. I keep it under my desk. But we had some comments here coming from the chat room here, where I mentioned that God was a woman. Dawkins Doug said, and God's a woman. That explains the mood swings, of course. And Torvian also said, I walked in the front door, looked outside, I walked away. Near life experience.
Life is up close and extremely personal.
It was up close and personal. But
I'm going back to my computer now.
Right. But we'd like to get some of your thoughts on here. Please give us a call on Uber Conference. That's uberconference.com/Packard Pokes At, or you can call in at 857-216-3200. Use PIN number 35368. The thing is here, when our brain does break down, we're trying to figure out what's going on around us. Now, there's some of these other ones here. I'm going to look at one of these other ones here. You mentioned Howard Storm. There was also apparently a Dr. Mary McNeil. She apparently was taking a trip in 1999. She became pinned underwater when her kayak capsized, and it was nearly impossible for her to breathe anywhere between 15 and 25 minutes. That's what she said. She claims she experienced a near-death experience that brought her to the presence of God, Jesus, and the angels. She claims that during the experience, God told her the family would be facing an upcoming tragedy and would need her help to help them through it. Specifically, her 9-year-old son, Willie, was going to die, but she wasn't told when, where, or how. Your kid's going to die. Good luck! Wow. Good luck!
Yes.
That's kind of bullshit, because there.
Oh, tell him when he died.
Yeah, exactly. Tell him
at the age of 19.
Yeah, 10 years later.
10 years later.
10 years
I got
later.
news for her. Everybody's going to die.
Yes.
Eventually. And who was there to document how long she was underwater? Is this what the paramedics said, or is this because she was trapped under there?
That's probably what 15 to 20 minutes, if you are not resuscitated within about 7 minutes at most, I think. I could be wrong on the time amount there. But I think after that point, you're dead. You are not coming back.
And most people don't kayak in frigid, icy water.
Right. Well, yeah, if it's frigid, if the water, that's an interesting point right there. Frigid water, because of hypothermia, it will extend out the body's life a little bit longer. So there are cases where people have had hypothermia and they have been brought back as later as 10 to 15 minutes. But I don't know about 25 minutes. I think that might be a little bit stretching it. So the thing is here, I was going to point out there, she said that the voices or Jesus or God said she was going to die. And the fact that this God didn't tell him when, where, or how is like, that's pretty of a dick move. I mean, if you have God has your attention for a whole whatever this long, God's going to say, hey, your kid's going to die. And say, here's the time, here's the place, look for this event, and then, maybe you can stop it. I mean, hell, I would do that. I say, if I knew the future, I say, hey, buddy, don't cross the street. You're getting nailed by a semi. In fact, I'm going to hold you here until the semi passes so you don't get nailed by it. You know. Since she said this was her kid, everybody worries about their kids. Unless you're, a psychopath or you just hate your kids for whatever reason, you're going to worry about your kids. So obviously these are the things that you're going to be thinking about. It's natural, yeah, exactly.
It's a natural feeling that a lot of people, I worry about my kids.
Right. And I worry about mine. I constantly worry about mine. It's just, it's part of being a parent. So
if you're trapped underneath a kayak and you think you're going to drown, that's going to be on your mind. You're going to my kids, what's going to happen to them?
Exactly.
Yeah.
There was another kid here, Ben Breedlove, rather. Apparently he had some kind of attack or something here. While I was still unconscious, I was in this white room, no walls. Wait a minute, if it's a room, how there's no walls? What's holding the roof up? It just went on and on. There was no sound, but the same peaceful feeling I had when I was 4. I was wearing a really nice suit, and I was in my favorite rapper kid, Cooley. What the hell? What the hell is a Kid Cudi? I don't know.
No idea.
He said, Then I looked at myself in the mirror. Wait a minute. Where's this mirror coming from? Is it hanging in midair?
It's an existential crisis we're going through right here.
Apparently, yeah.
He was just in some Art Nouveau place in New York.
Well, apparently he made a bunch of videos. He got online. He made a bunch of YouTube videos, and then back in 2011, about a week after he posted the videos, he suffered a heart attack and then died. So, wouldn't God just say, "Hey, buddy, you're just gonna go back for a little while, come back, look at this mirror here, and then make some videos, and then I'll bring you back in a little while." A week later. Well, that's kind of assholeish too. So, just saying.
The maid hadn't cleaned up his room in heaven.
Yeah, sorry, no. that maid service hasn't been in yet. We're building that room up for you.
Sorry, we weren't ready.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm continuing my offensiveness, so I'm sorry.
Oh, hey, we have Joe. Joe finally got in here. Joe was supposed to be on with us tonight, but unfortunately he got stuck at work. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back in just a moment.
Contact us by email at ppappodcast@gmail.com or on Twitter as @Packard Pokes At. Like us on Facebook.com/Packard Pokes At. Call our Google Voice and leave a message at 662-709-PPAP or 662-709-7727, and we will respond to it on the show. Friday nights at 9 p.m. Central Time. Join us live at vonlive.tv/Packard Pokes At. During the show, you can share your thoughts with us by calling 857-216-3200 using PIN number 35368 or on uberconference.com/Packard Pokes At. For links to the stories, visit our show page at packardpokesat.wordpress.com. You can help support the show by purchasing merchandise from cafepress.com/Packard Pokes At or make a donation to the show at patreon.com/Packard Pokes At. If you can't afford any money, why not share the show with your friends and rate us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Spreaker, and on YouTube. For everyone that shares and rates us, you kick ass.
This is so much nonsense revolving around the near-death experience. It's not even funny. Now, speaking of not even funny here, I'll read another one of these people. Her name was Betty J. Edel, E-A-D, Eddie. Eddie? That's a weird name. Of course, a lot of names are weird anyway. Back in 1973, she went under a partial hysterectomy, after which she said she floated out of her body and passed through a tunnel to heaven. That's,
Was there a toll?
Must have been a toll booth there, I don't know. I know this much about having a hysterectomy. They get inside there. They take all the good parts out, so you can't have any more kids. And I imagine that's got to be quite painful. So the fact that she thinks she's floating up into the air or whatever is kind of suspect right there. Now, and of course, she had to write a book on this. She said, "I saw a pinpoint of light in the distance. A black mass around me began to take more of a shape of a tunnel." Duh. I can close my eyes and I get these, like, in a dark room, you get these little pinprick lights, and then eventually your mind focuses and you can get them to focus in one spot until it becomes brighter. Anybody can do this. Yeah. Anybody can do this. It's light that's inside your sockets of your eyeballs. It's just a little bit, extra photons and shit. Mm-hmm. She said, "I felt myself traveling through it at an even greater speed." That's what that morphine does. It makes you think that shit. Rushing towards the light. I was instinctively attracted to it. What is she, a fucking moth?
Go
Oh, look at the light! Look at the light! Ah!
Gosh.
God.
Although, again, I felt that others might not be. How would you know? How do you know what other people are feeling that they're not attracted to light? It's like, it's weird. Weird are these things people say. As I approached it, I noticed that a figure of a man standing in it, with all the light radiating around him. There was no question who it was. I knew it had to be my savior and friend and God.
Thor.
It's Thor. I thought it was Thor. Honestly. He says, "He was Jesus Christ, who has always loved me, even though he hated me." What? Even though I thought he hated me.
Huh.
Yeah, that's... the way that's pretty freaking wacky. I mean, why didn't someone just sit down and tell her? It's like, hey, you're this thing that's going on inside your brain there. You didn't see Jesus. I was standing in front of the light bulb, trying to work on your ass, trying to keep you awake, trying to get you. Well, it wasn't her ass. It was somewhere a little higher than her ass.
Hey, my face is up here. God.
And then there were the Pipers. Now, of course, he's a pastor. Back in January 1989, Don Piper was driving over a bridge when the Department of Corrections truck trailer crossed the center line and ran into him head on. That's painful. He says he's instantly transported to heaven, where he found himself surrounded by dead relatives and friends, and a large pearl gate. Why is it always pearl? Why can't it be diamonds? Maybe a little gold here and there. Maybe what if you like Lego? Can it be Lego? I'm just saying. Doesn't God?
What do you think, Glenn? Why is it pearl?
Yeah, why is it pearl?
What do you think?
They must have a lot of oysters up there or something. Irritate the fucking.
There you go.
You know what puzzles me here is he was instantly transported to heaven.
Yeah.
He didn't get to go at warp speed or anything. It was like, bam, he's there.
Right.
He's on Earth, and the next thing he knows, he's in heaven. Like, he skips the whole tunnel experience and all that.
Exactly.
So, interesting.
That's a great point. He missed out on the whole tunnel experience. I mean,
and that's part of it. Like, he really got cheated on that. I feel like he got cheated because that is a great experience. It's like riding a roller coaster, except much faster. I mean, clearly, you're
obviously.
going through. Yeah, I mean, you're going through billions of light years of stuff in the universe here, and to get to miss that, man, that would be real disappointing.
Yeah,
to miss that.
Well, it's like the tunnel of love. You get in the little dark there. You got to get the paddle boat and the whole 9 yards. You don't get any of that. He just went boom right there.
I know. That's sad.
That he totally missed out, man. Totally missed out. He robbed him. He robbed him of the experience.
Money back.
He definitely should get his money back.
Yeah.
He said. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead there, Glenn.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to read. He says that the gate of heaven was a magnificent edifice. I saw the one that I saw. One. How many are there? 10, 20?
The one that I saw?
He says the one that I saw. He says the one I saw. Apparently, there's multiple entrances.
Yeah, it's like Wrigley Field.
Are we in the
over here are the cheap seats. Over here we got we're going up to the nosebleed seats. It's
Can you imagine Angel trying to stop you? It's like, no, sir, you can't enter into this gate.
No, your gate's down the hall. You got 5E. It says right here. Your seat's down over there.
Yeah, you're with the Baptists. You got to go over there.
You don't want to get in with the Mormons because those guys just don't. Those guys are just boring.
No, let's put them in the nosebleed section.
Yeah.
Last weekend we had the Bears playing the kids. It was a slog.
He continues and says it looked no less like a giant gate that had been sculpted from a mother of pearl. Why would you do it like that? I mean, is God not able to put two pieces together? You just have to make it out of one big piece. And if it's a gate, obviously, if it's one big piece, you can't make it swing. I mean, especially if it's just solid, I guess. Then that's called a fence, at that point.
Jim Gaffigan has some very funny things about. He says, "What you go to heaven and you live in a gated community, we had to go all the way to hell to get a contractor."
Right.
People are trying to sneak in and get in the pool.
Yeah, you don't want people just sneaking in behind over the pearly gates into the pool. They might pee in it. He says, beyond the portal was such a light that I don't conceive of how you could see it in an earthly body. It could only be envisioned in a heavenly body because it was too bright. What the fuck does that even mean? You have to be dead to see it? Really?
Apparently. Oh, God.
Whatever he was smoking before he hit that truck, I want to know. Just saying. He says he laid there crushed in his vehicle on the bridge. A pastor came by who prayed over him. Well, you know what, Pastor? If you prayed over him, then and you brought him back, why would you do that? You know these people. You're all supposedly fighting for the same thing. You want to go to heaven. Why would you bring them back? Really? I mean, come on now.
Well, he was a little short in the offering plate that week. So
oh yeah, apparently, yeah.
Talk to him about his faith pledge.
Yeah. It says the EMS staff had told him that Don was deceased. After the pastor prayed, he instantly found himself back in his vehicle. No tunnel again. He's got robbed both ways. Robbed both ways. He didn't get to float down. He's like, he's like, oh, here. Boom.
Wow.
Drop. It's like a drop kick. Boom. get the hell out of here. So.
And could you imagine like going to heaven, like if it actually exists, which, yeah, fat chance on that. But
yeah,
imagine going there and experiencing, and Jesus is like, hey, we've got bad news for you. Yeah, you have to go back to Earth. Like, oh, fucking that body, that ugly piece of shit body you gave me, where I've got like diabetes and like knee problems. Like, sure, thanks, God.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry about don't worry about all that stuff. When you get back up here, then we'll take care of you then. But fuck you until then. Just get down there.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Pat Robertson's Methuselah.
My daughter handed this to me. Says like it's like playing whack-a-mole. Bam! Get down there. He says after the pastor prayed, he instantly found him packing himself in his vehicle, staring up at a tarp that had been draped over him. At the hospital, it was revealed that he suffered no major head trauma, and nearly every bone in his body had been broken or shattered.
Damn.
Well, how do you not have any head trauma? Your head has bones in it. How do you not have head trauma? You've been hit by a semi. Boom. Or maybe you're making the fucking story up.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he was just that thick.
He was that, well, maybe, yeah. Probably
I don't know.
thick-headed, yes. Of course, then there's also Bill Weiss. He says his 23 minutes in hell. Why not 24? Why not a round nice half hour?
He's mixing that up with that game he played in junior high.
Right. Now, the thing is here, this guy, he wasn't in any kind of accident. I'm just laying there in bed at 3 a.m. Note the time. It's like I happen to be laying in bed, looking at the clock, and boom, I'm in hell. What the hell?
Because that's supposedly like the most evil hour of the night.
Right. It is the most evil hour. You know why?
I understand that.
You know why it's the most evil hour of the night? Because I have to get up and fucking work at that time because that alarm goes off. That's the most evil hour of the goddamn night.
Right.
Right. And he says, suddenly being thrown into the depths of hell where he was tormented by demons.
Oh,
no, that's called, you need to get up and go use the bathroom, dude. He said he's placed in a small cell with vicious beasts who look like reptiles.
Jesus.
Oh, please.
Vivid imagination this guy has.
That is an imagination. He didn't even get the tunnel experience. No tunnel, just I'm laying in bed.
Or the waiting room. He didn't get the waiting room.
He didn't even get to go to the waiting room. Just like suddenly, I'm not going to, Mr. Weiss, yeah, would you follow me to the waiting room in hell, please? No, we're just going to immediately throw you, boom, you've gone right to the cell.
He was suddenly in the depths of hell.
Suddenly.
Damn, he must have been an evil bastard, man, for him to skip all the way to the depths of hell.
Exactly.
Hitler's up in the waiting room.
Hitler's going, damn, even I didn't fuck up that bad. Damn, fuck, man. Woo.
He was down there with like child rapists and wow, man. I mean, who knows?
He says he recalls understanding that they had been assigned to torment him. What kind of a job is this? I mean, really, it's like, hey, demon, yeah, you're up in cell 3B.
Exactly.
Bill Hicks is in.
You got
so
anal
hilarious.
rape in 3.
I'm sorry. Bill Wise is in cell 3B. Go in, give him a standard torture 4A and 7C. Oh, pineapple up the ass and then toenail removal. There you go. All right.
Cut the nutsack off too, but they'll grow back tomorrow.
Yeah, they'll get.
Do it all over again.
Yeah, that's basically what hell is. I read, I think in that book I was telling you about earlier, where literally like your skin just regrows.
Yeah,
like,
supposedly.
Yeah, you get skinned alive, but then tomorrow, guess what? You've got a new set.
Yeah, you get get new whatever after they just cut it off to get it cut off again. But I mean, let's think about this for just a minute. Let's entertain that for just a minute. If you do something often enough, it just becomes like, oh yeah, okay, gotta cut them off again. All right, yeah. They'll grow back. Okay, do it again. Okay, yeah. You get used to the pain, and the whole thing doesn't make any sense anyway, because I've never had anybody explain to me how nerve endings are in souls. If a soul is just, energy, there's no nerve endings. No nerve endings, no pain. It doesn't work that way.
Well, I know that the church teaches that when Christ comes back, we'll have new heavenly bodies.
Yeah, that's what they
So I don't know if the reasoning is that that you also get new bodies if you go to hell. So that
apparently,
I don't know, but I thought that they were supposed to be like durable and everything. And so I don't know.
It's all confusing. It really is.
It is.
You get a new body apparently. I mean, some people say it's just a soul. Other people say, well, your body's reunited with it in hell. But yeah, I mean, so basically, I've got an immortal body that because it can't die. I mean, you live forever in hell, so you're immortal, but you still got all the nerve endings and stuff like that. Apparently,
Yeah.
It's fucked up, man. It's fucked up.
It is. Dawkins from the channel said some guy told me tonight hell is a place of fire, but not burning. It's like being around a campfire. Oh, I've been around a lot of campfires. It's nice and warm, toasty. You get the marshmallows out, you're good. You get bring over the hot dogs, bring over the brats. So hell's a party, That's why wouldn't you want to go there then? He continues on. He said, Dawkins continues. Said the same guy told me that children who are abused by priests deserve it as well. We are all born evil. Yeah, that's one. You're right, Dawkins. He is one fucked up weirdo. So,
yeah.
Yeah, Karn from the channel, he said, this sounds like Scientology where they claim the soul got brainwashed. Every religion out there has got some kind of afterlife thing that they've got going on for him. This is what he claims. He says after he woke, his wife noted the clock read 3:23, so his book is titled 23 Minutes in Hell. So, wait a minute. When did he say his wife was there? He just said he got thrown into hell. Did his wife come with him? He's like, oh, honey, make sure we get the good cell. Do they serve wine here? I'm not getting my wine. That's hell.
Where's Gordon Ramsay?
Where's Gordon Ramsay?
I just wanted to go to this kitchen.
I hear it's actually a shithole. Then there's Crystal McVie. She said following a simple medical procedure for pancreatitis in 2009, pancreatitis is not a simple procedure. I mean, anytime you cut into the body, it's major surgery. And the pancreas is inside the body. It's not like it's not like it's sitting on top like a mole or something you get removed. She apparently went into full respiratory arrest on the operating table. When that happened, she said she explained a trip to heaven that renewed her faith in God, who she met in person. Really? Apparently,
wow.
That's never in the Bible. The only part of the God you actually get to see is his ass. Look it up. You don't believe me? Look it up.
See his face.
Look it up. There's a passage that says God basically shows his backside to you. You never get to see his face. Anyway, you get to see his ass. Hope it's cute. Just saying.
He's very proud of it. He does Stairmaster.
He does Stairmaster.
Because there's a stairway.
My daughter's over here doing this number, like, ugh. So,
Okay.
She described it as immense brightness that she could feel, taste, touch, hear, and smell. Kinky. Is this beginning to sound more like a menage? It sounds like a sexual encounter, and not so much, meeting God.
Are we still talking about God's face? I'm sorry, you lost me.
And she said she recalled having 500 senses while in heaven.
Wow.
Since we only have 5 senses.
Well, some of them were duplicates, but
Well, yeah.
Does she? And she don't bother to tell us what those 500 senses are, does she?
Yeah. What are the other 495 senses out there?
Thank you.
What are the 495?
It doesn't even make any sense.
I know it doesn't make any sense.
Senses,
You have 500 senses. I'm feeling through the hair on my head. Well, that's still a feeling. That's nothing new. That's not a different sensation. It's the same sensation. It's just a different way you're experiencing it.
She listed 5 things: feel, taste, touch, hear, and smell.
Mm-hmm.
But then she goes on to say 500 senses.
Right.
Like, You would think if you're trying to back up your claim, you would at least, I don't know, fucking give us like one of the 500.
One of the other
additional, one of the other 495.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. What's one of the other 495? What is it? Oh, I can't describe it. Then it's not a sense.
Right. Jesus.
I had angels. I had God, and I fell to my knees in front of Him. Well, that sounds painful. What if you got arthritis? You little arthritis, gotta get off my knees now, Well, of course, my daughter's doing this number, so I fell on my knees. We know what you're doing now.
That explains some of those other senses, but she just probably wasn't really familiar with them.
Well, she apparently forgot. Probably never gave anybody a blowjob because it's like fell to my knees, and like next thing I know, I got to, Anyway,
yep.
I think, like I said, she's experiencing. She's
ignorant. Yeah.
She's never given a blowjob before, so therefore, so she obviously thought this was a new sense.
Sorry, Alex.
I've always been asked as a doubter prior to the experience when she was asked twice by God if she'd like to return to Earth. Wait! Stop! Why? Wait a minute. God comes and asks you a question. Do you want to go back? I don't know.
God doesn't want the awkward morning
Wouldn't
meal.
God-
Do I serve you breakfast?
Should we serve you breakfast? Do you want breakfast? Or do you want to go back? Why would God, if God is supposed to know everything, why would he have to even ask her a question? Why would he even have to ask it twice, for that matter?
But he asked her, and then she goes, "No, I want to stay." But then he sends her back anyway. It's like, what the hell's the point of even asking her?
Right.
That doesn't make any sense at all.
It's like saying, "Hey, do you want me to shoot you in the face, or you want to live?" I want to live. Do you want to be shot in the face, or you want to live? Oh, I want to live. Now I'm gonna shoot you in the face anyway.
Yeah.
What the hell? It doesn't even make any sense.
I wonder. My question is, if she would have said, "Send me back to Earth," maybe he would have kept her. You know what I'm saying? Maybe God does the opposite of what you really want.
There you go. It's reverse psychology, man.
Yeah.
It's like we're going to sell you this thing, but we're actually going to do this thing to you. So we'll do one more, then we're going to have to cut out of here. We got Ivan McCormick, who was driving for lobsters one day off the island of Mauritius. Or Mauritius, I have no idea how to pronounce it. He says he was stung by the arm by a box jellyfish.
Well, that's what he gets.
Yeah. So he says by that time the ambulance had already arrived. He had felt completely paralyzed and necrosis had begun to set in. As he lay dying, he saw a vision of his mother praying for him. And then after he made it to the hospital, he was clinically dead for a period of 15 to 20 minutes. That's when he found himself in a very dark place and began to hear people screaming. Well, dude, box jellyfish have a toxin in them. And the toxin goes through your body. If necrosis is setting in on parts of your body, do you think that maybe some of this shit got into your brain? Really? Yeah. You're seeing visions. You're hallucinating. It's hallucinating. He says, from the darkness I began to hear men's voices screaming and telling me I had to shut up. Why would they? Wait, stop. Why would they have to tell you to shut up? If you're sitting there, and why would they have to scream it at you? I mean...
I thought they liked hearing your screams.
Yeah, they want you to...
They're doing the torture right then, don't they?
Yeah, it's just like, if you're not... Yeah, exactly. If you're not being tortured right... good, we're doing the torture right. You sit there, poke. Come on, buddy, scream.
Does this hurt?
Does this hurt a little bit? Nah. A little irritation, Well... that doesn't make
compared to that jellyfish back there.
Compared to that jellyfish, I'll tell you that hurt. There's a little bit more here. He says, as I stood there, a radiant beam of light shone through the darkness and immediately began to lift me upward. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, stop again for this guy. Why would it send you there if he's just going to pull you out? It's like...
Clerical errors?
Yeah, exactly. Isn't it It must be some kind of clerical error. Oh, I'm sorry.
God changed his mind. Who knows?
He's like, at the last minute. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. Wait. Was he supposed to be in? Oh, shit. Somebody get Gabriel on the horn. He's not supposed to be down there.
That was supposed to be Donald Trump.
It's Trump. Trump. Someone transposed the T. He says that light. It was like he walked towards the light. He says he can feel like giving off a living emotion. What do you get? All emotions come from things that are living. I don't see emotion coming out of a rock. I mean, I can make a rock look like it's smiling. Doesn't mean it's fucking smiling.
All I can see is the sun on the Teletubbies, and now it's really happy.
Time for Teletubbies. But, yeah, he claims God spoke to him, and he says he hasn't written a book yet, but that shared his life story with several news outlets and talk shows. Of course, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it didn't hurt, and it didn't hurt his lobstering, I guess. I don't know, whatever he does. So, anyway, we do get out here. I want to thank Godless Glen for joining us tonight. Thank you, Glenn, for coming on to the show. And check out his channel at youtube.com/godlessglen. And thank you, Connie, for joining us tonight as well.
My pleasure.
And we will be back next week with our regular longer show with our different news stories that we normally cover. And we'll see you then at 9 p.m. Central Time at vonlive.tv/Packard Pokes At. Until then, this has been Packard Pokes At. We just poked at your news.
And that's a wrap.